Hi everyone, welcome to today's tutorial where we'll be making this bordered chevron with a twist. So usually we make border chevrons with black and white for the borders, and the inside could be multiple colors, but we're not going to do that today. And these are the strings you currently have, and for this bracelet it just has 2 steps and 2 colors, so they match and they rhyme. So we're going to fold our strings in half. Color wool in your case could be a single color wool, which is what I'm doing in the background too. Now I'm going to be making a loop, which means using the multicolored one. That's for our border. We're going to be making backward forward knots against the other solid color strings. In my case, that's green colored strings. I'll be making series of backward forward knots until when I get the size of loop that I want. And because I'm going to be making a teardrop start, I don't need it to be very long, so maybe about half an inch to 0.75 inch. That's enough. So now we've finished making our loop and we're going to start our teardrop. So the string we used to make our loop, we put on the one side and then take the next string. Since it's the same color, you can just take a green string and make a forward knot over the remaining strings. That's use our one string to make forward knot over the four strings. Then take one string from that bunch and use that string to make a forward knot over the remaining 3 strings. Yep. And when you're done with that, take the next string. I use it to make a forward knot over the remaining 2. Just one forward knot because I'm making a teardrop loop. And take the next string and make one forward knot. Since this means only 2 strings, we don't need to make any other one, so just make one forward knot, and then we'll drop that and move over to the left side and do the same thing. But the only difference is we'll be doing backward knots instead. So move the first the one for the loop aside and take the next string, which will be green. They're all going to be green, so it doesn't matter what exact order you do this, and make a backward knot. Now my backward knots always make me look clumsy on camera, but you're making backward knots over the remaining 4. Take the next string and make another backward knot over the remaining 3. Now teardrop loops are generally what fits from chevrons. You don't have to do this. If you can make any other one, go ahead. Take the next string and make a backward knot over the remaining 2. Then take the last one and make a backward knot over the other one. Now, this is looking so scattered. Now take the 2 strings in the middle. That's the last strings that we knotted on, because we are going to be making a forward knot there. So we can join the strings together and giving us a perfect V, and at the same time we are ending our triangle, our teardrop start, sorry. And teardrops are basically a different part of the triangle, and as we're closing it, be careful so that this knot actually stays and it's firm. You want it firm so it doesn't come loose later. And now that we're done with this bar, we are going to move our left to, well, the left, because we are starting on the right. So this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be making the border first. The border will be a backward forward knot, and then we will now make a regular chevron row. And if you have not done a chevron row, I have a tutorial for that. It will be linked in the description. Please check that out. So now we're going to move to the right, like I said earlier. Take the second to the last string from the right. That's the first green string, because we are going to use those 2. So now take the multicolored string, or the string that's a different color for you, and make a backward forward knot on the first solid color string. In my case, that's the first green string. So we're going to make a backward forward knot, which is basically half a backward knot, half a forward knot, like I've mentioned. Then holding that string you just knotted on, that's your first green string, make 4 make 4 backward knots. And this is a backward knot on each of the other 4 green strings we have. So it's going to move from the position second to the last second string from the right to move to the middle of the bunch. So now that we are done with our right, we're going to move the remaining 4 strings to one side, keeping the one we used to make a knot in the middle. We're going to now take the first green string from the left, because we are going to be making a forward backward knot on that string with the one of the loop, which should be of a different color. Now a forward backward knot, remember, is like a half a forward knot then half the backward knot, which I have shown, or I'm currently showing. And then when you're done with that, move that string to one side, still holding the first green string, the one we just knotted on. We're going to take it and we're going to make 5 knots, so moving it from the position there to the middle. Now the reason why we're making 5 knots here is because we're going to make 1 extra knot on the string that came from the right. So that's, after we make that string, it's actually going to be like the midpoint of this bracelet. Yeah, bracelet. Okay, so this point that we just did now is our chevron row. That's our chevron row. So I'm going to be repeating this step again and starting from the right. So we're going to make our first backward forward knot, backward forward knot, then take that string that we just knotted on, because we are going to use it to make 4 backward knots. That's a backward knot on each of the 4 strings we have. Now this tutorial only has 2 steps. That's the border, which is literally just a forward backward knot or a backward forward knot, and then the chevron row. So it's basically a chevron without the border, and it's basically a bordered chevron to that's it. And the pattern inspo for this will be linked in the description, because I got it from someone's picture and I wanted to make sure she gets the credit for it. On Bracelet book, by the way. Now I'm going to the left and I want to take the different colored string, variegated for mine, on the edge, and I'm going to make a forward backward knot on the left. So half a forward knot and then for my backward knot. Now the main point of a border is to keep it at the edge. It's supposed to be made when you want your bracelets to be straight, or to give them this different color feeling at the edges. Now we're going to proceed to make our chevron part with that same string. Remember that on the left we are making 5 knots, 5 forward knots to be exact. And now we've gotten to the end of the bracelet, because since it's just 2 easy steps, you just keep repeating and repeating. And with the bracelet I'm showing you now, which is the one I currently have in my hand, you can realize that I'm just making the same thing over and over again. And since it's a 2-way bracelet, you don't necessarily have to worry about just wearing one side. So just keep repeating the same row, a border, then. So if you want to make this bracelet bigger, like the one I'm currently holding, instead of adding doing 5 strings, you could do like 8, or I'm currently making 10. The one I made with the orange variation is 4, so they're all just different strings. But here now I'm going to show you how I made this cute triangle start. It's very cute, doesn't it? I like it. Anyway, getting started, we're going to start from the right as usual. So taking the border string, we're going to be making 4 backward knots this time. Not just a backward forward knot, we're going to be making 4 backward knots, moving it from the edge where it's been staying for a while now to the middle. We're going to give it this perfect kind of V thing that's going on, and since it's with a different color, it's very obvious, and I think it looks really nice. Now take the multicolor string on the on the left, and we're going to make 5. Yep, we're making 5 forward knots. So we're going to cross them, and after that we stop. So now that we're done with this row, we're going to go to the right again, and we're going to take the string on the edge, the second to the last string on the edge, and we're going to make a forward backward knot. Yep, so we're going to take the next one and make another forward backward knot over those two strings at once. Now take the next one and make a forward backward knot over those three strings at once. You can see how we're just adding as we're going along. Yeah, that's basically for this particular bracelet. That's why I made it. Now take the next one, which is going to be our last green string on the right, and make a forward backward knot over the remaining four. Now take the multicolored string or the colored string and make a forward backward knot, so we get that X, small xy thing there, and pull. That's it. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So on the left, we're going to take the two strings on the edge and make a backward forward knot. Take the next one beside that, make a backward forward knot over those two strings at once. Then take the one beside that and make another forward backward knot over those three strings at once. You can see here's the same thing on the other side, just a difference in knots. Then take the last one and make a forward backward knot over those four strings. Now with our colored string, we're going to make our last forward and backward forward knot, which now brings us to the end of our triangle tutorial and brings us to the beginning of our ties. Long and short, I made twisted ties, so I just divided the bracelets into three groups of two and three in each. I started with the right because I always start with my right, and I just twist in any random direction and twist the two ties together in opposite directions, and they stay for me. Now we're going to make our overhand knot. I can't explain this, so I hope you got it while watching. And make sure that the two strings are the same size. Mine never seem to be, but we can do it. I know we can do it one day. And I'm just going to snip off my ties. So now that I'm done, I have made a 20 string, 12 string, and a 10 string bracelet. If you would like to learn how to make a chevron, I will leave that linked. I hope you have a nice day and bye.